Not every soul finds its way back down the mountain. Some stay behind, trapped in silence, waiting for someone to notice, for someone to listen, for someone to help them come home. This is the story of a night hike gone wrong, a trail into the dark, a meeting with a stranger who never left, and a message from beyond the fog. What these 4 hikers found was not just a body, but a soul, asking to be found. The air that night felt strange, not cold, but heavy, as if something was suspended in the atmosphere, unseen. 4 young men from Salt Lake City began their hike up Mount Timpanogos at dusk. The sky was grey, heavy with low clouds. A creeping mist slithered slowly through the pine trees, wrapping around the narrow trail like a silent veil. Their footsteps echoed against gravel and fallen leaves. The beams from their headlamps cut through the darkness, reflecting faintly off the damp tree trunks. No sounds of night animals, no wind, only the rhythm of breath, heavy, cautious, and increasingly uncertain. They stopped occasionally to catch their breath and check the map. The digital compass spun aimlessly. The GPS flickered, but they kept going. Higher, deeper, into silence. Nearly an hour passed. The path sloped upward, and the mist thickened. Their visibility shrank. The light from their lamps barely reached ahead. One of them slipped briefly, but quickly regained balance. Fatigue began to settle in, but curiosity, adrenaline, and pride pushed them forward. Then, just ahead, on the edge of the trail near a large rock, stood a man, still, unmoving, as though he had been there, waiting. He wore a weathered hiking jacket, a large backpack strapped to his shoulders, and a dim headlamp pointed downward. His face was pale, almost colorless. His eyes were hollow, yet locked directly onto them. No smile, no signal, only silence and presence. The group froze. Their limbs felt heavy, breaths caught in their throats, but none of them spoke. The man slowly raised one arm and pointed up the trail. Then, without a word, turned and walked into the mist. No sound of footsteps, no rustling branches, just the fog swallowing him whole. And in a blink, he was gone. They looked at one another, silent, trying to make sense of what they had just seen. It wasn't imagination. It wasn't a shadow. Where the man had stood, no footprints remained, only damp earth and cold stone. They didn't yet know that this night was no ordinary hike, but a meeting, a warning in the fog, from someone who had never truly left. Their steps grew heavier. After what they saw, the trail no longer felt the same. The fog clung to their skin. Their breath was shaky. The silence was louder than before. No one said a word, but they all felt it. Something was watching. Something was guiding them. They walked slowly. Their lights moved across the trees. Every shape looked like a shadow. Every sound like a whisper. Then the trail curved. A sharp turn. More narrow. More damp. There it stood. A tall, black tree. An old pine. Its branches stretched out like crooked arms. It stood right where the man had pointed. One of them moved closer. Behind the tree, a crack in the earth. A deep split. Between rocks. Hidden beneath roots and dirt. They shined their lights inside. First, they saw mud. Then stones. And then, something strange. A torn backpack. Stuck between rocks. Worn. Covered in moss and dirt. Then, fabric. Blue. Ripped. Wrapped around something still. A shape. A body. Lying twisted. Unmoving. Lifeless. One of them slowly stepped closer. His light exposed the truth. It was a man. Dead. Caught in the rocks. Face hidden. Arms stretched, as if reaching for help. They all froze. Their hearts stopped. Because this wasn't luck. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a message. A direction. From someone who wasn't alive. The man on the rock had shown them the exact spot, the exact tree, the exact fall. And now, the question was no longer what they saw, but who and why. They didn't wait for sunrise. As soon as they could, they hiked back down the mountain. Fast, silent, shaken. Their hands were cold, their steps unsteady, but something pushed them forward. Not fear, not guilt, but urgency. They had seen something real. Not a dream, not a trick, but a body, and a sign, from someone who should not be there. That morning, a rescue team was sent. Trained men with ropes, gear, and radios. They hiked up, focused, efficient, prepared for anything. But when they reached the tree, they paused. Even they felt it. Something strange. Something heavy. The crack beneath the tree was deeper than expected. It took hours to retrieve the body. Careful movements. Silent work. The man was wedged between rocks. His body decayed. His jacket soaked. One shoe missing. His backpack torn. When they finally brought him up, no one said a word. The forest was quiet. Still, as if it had been watching too. His name was confirmed later. Travis M. Carter, 31 years old, a solo hiker, reported missing 2 months ago. Search teams had combed the area. Drones, dogs, helicopters, but no one found him. Not until now. Not until that night, when 4 strangers were led to him by something they couldn't explain. Back at the lodge, one of the boys looked up his name. He found a photo, taken before Travis disappeared. It was him. Same eyes, same jacket, same headlamp. The man they saw was the man they found, but not alive. They hadn't just found a body. They had answered a call from someone, still waiting to go home. Night returned, but it was different now. The air was still, the mountain quiet, almost peaceful, but inside them, something remained. Not fear, not confusion, but a presence. One of the boys couldn't sleep. He tossed, turned, eyes wide open at 3:12 a.m. The world outside his window, covered in thin fog. Then, a dream, but it didn't feel like a dream. It felt real, too real. He was back on the trail. The tree, the mist, the silence, and there, Travis, standing beside the same tree, wearing the same jacket, the same backpack. But now, his face was calm. No fear, no pleading, only peace. He looked at him, not with sadness, but with thanks. Then Travis turned and slowly walked into the fog. Each step was light, free, like a burden had finally lifted. Just before the mist swallowed him, he turned once more, one last glance. Then, gone. The boy woke up, not afraid, just quiet. He knew Travis was free. That morning, they returned, all 4, back to the mountain's edge, back to the tree. They laid down a small bundle of wildflowers, and beside it, a stone. On that stone, one word: found. No voices, no prayers, just silence and peace. The forest stayed still. The wind didn't blow, because something unfinished was now complete. Since that day, no one saw the man on the rock again. No more glowing headlamps in the fog. No more silent warnings. Because maybe he wasn't haunting the mountain. He was waiting. And now, he's finally home.